Working with Bible translation since 2007, and it's been my pleasure to work with him. He's passionate about equipping deaf translation teams and deaf consultants. He and his wife, Linda, have 2 sons and 2 daughter-in-laws and a granddaughter. Welcome, Stuart.
Thank you, Jerry. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share with you about a product called the Sign Language Translation Tool, SLTT. First of all, I would like to introduce our team that has collaborated to develop this tool. We had 2 that were unable to attend, but we did pre-record their introductions. Hello all, I'm Kyle Cascase, and I am a product manager focusing on SLTT. Hi, I am Ellis Bennis, and my name is signed with an E from the forehead, and I'm a developer. Now, I do have 2 members of our team that were able to join us, Eric and Nathan. If you would please stand.
I'm Eric Pyle, the new tech lead as a software developer for SLTT, and my senior developer, Nathan, is here as well.
I'm Nathan Miles, and Eric is my boss, and I'm a software developer on SLTT.
So our team has worked closely with DOOR and Bible societies to develop this tool, and we are happy to have this opportunity to share what all is encompassed within this tool, SLTT. This is the main screen. I'm going to walk you through the 3 levels in the structure. You will see the center portion, which is where you identify the project, the drop-down box at the top center of the screen. And that is where the translation team can identify their project, make sure that they are working within their project, whether it's a 3 or 4 year project. Then off to one side, you will see where the portion is indicated. That could include a chapter, it could be a story. So however the team determines that they want to structure the project. Below that, you will see the portion for passages, this area for passages. That could be pericopes, it could be introductions, stories, or expansion information to clarify the work that's being done. And this is designed by the team to meet their goals throughout the translation process. We do have a way for you to track the plan in progress using this project management tool. You'll see the 1 and 2 lines above. This is utilizing the platform Kanban, and it is that style of board, and it allows the team members to move the tasks as the progress is completed. So they are able to see where a particular passage is in the process. In addition, they are able to utilize that for making reports. This shows how the plan has been set up, and they are not limited to this particular design. They are able to construct this according to the team's goals, according to what milestones they establish to measure progress. And this also allows them to make adjustments in the plan itself. So they can also set time markers for the plan, which allows them to see how they are following progress, which makes a great prediction tool for future portions of the project. And they can see where their progress is falling along according to time. This is the core of the work that we utilize the sign language translation tool for. This is where rough drafts and final drafts eventually are recorded and stored. You see the red circle at the top. That is an opportunity for someone to work from their own device, their own computer or laptop, to record the first draft of the passage that's being translated. So they can also create something in a studio and merge or import that product into the SLTT system. Once the video has been uploaded or recorded into SLTT, it is available for other members of the team and for external partners to be able to add comment and feedback based on the video production. There is a time marker that allows them to identify where those comments are related. So just an image of what that will look like having received feedback both in writing or signed feedback, which is also recorded in the same portion of the tool. And those are loaded consecutively so that there is a history recorded of ongoing conversation regarding that piece of the passage or portion of the passage. Now, this particular comment thread has been titled Sick, and that refers them to a particular sign. You will see there's a green dot at the top, which allows people, and that can be changed to a color code or a symbol code that allows you to label the type of thread or the type of comments are included in that thread. And again, that meaning will be assigned by the team. So a video comment might look like this. One moment. Well, unfortunately, it's not allowing me to run that video. But from here, you are able to see that particular verses can be identified within the full video passage. And you will see the ability to mark your comments according to a particular verse and the time marker of where that verse falls in the video. You can add additional information about the passage here as well. You see the hashtag. That allows you to tag a particular scripture for ideas that should be consistently portrayed throughout other translations. So those tags will allow you to search and locate this theme in future work or relate it to past work. So with the scripture, you see that you can click on the icon just below the one on the screen in front of you. That is a bar with a V below it, but that actually directs you to time markers and allows you to place time markers in the passage, in the video. That is extremely helpful, as you can see here, where we are referring to a particular verse for the previous comment thread that you saw. Again, in order to see the context and to identify a particular term for discussion and analysis, you are able to do that. And then you can highlight it, as you can see here, and see how it connects with that Jewish word in other scripture. So it allows you to see additional information regarding the source Greek or Hebrew term. You can also click where you see the 2 on the screen that allows you to see transliteration. So again, depending on what the team is needing to access for their work. The translation team will come to decisions together about what sign choices they are wanting to use. And the pencil icon that's marked here with the 3 will allow them to make edits once those terms have been identified. The red dot, again, allows them to record the production of that sign vocabulary according to whatever the team has decided, so that it can be saved and can be referred to for future discussions. It may be that sometime later they are having difficulty remembering what it was they agreed upon signing, and this allows you to track that. In order to add new terms to that glossary, key terms in particular, we have added the glossary that you can access. You'll see here on the top left of the screen. That glossary is built by the team and will allow revision, so that once maybe the team agrees upon a sign, but later determines that that sign needs to be edited, they can do so here. So SLTT does not only benefit the rough draft process, it also contains a number of additional resources that are certainly helpful to the translation team. There are previously published translations in sign language recorded, so those videos are accessible. And there is a list that can be accessed through the drop-down box of various teams' work on that same passage and portion, so that they are able to identify how best they want to portray that passage. And as we continue to see published translations, we will see that list grow. There also is an opportunity to access previous published translations in written form and additional resources from UBS with tags and labels that refer back to the Greek or Hebrew text. There are additional linguistic resources for each language. You'll see a few of the languages listed will have a plus sign following the code, and that indicates that there is additional information and there are additional resources for that language. Those without the plus sign apparently do not have those resources built yet. So this is just an example of a translation in a previous translation in another language. If you know that a team maybe a neighboring team has a similar translation, you might be able to refer them to this to use as a source text or as an additional resource. So in addition to linking to the Greek and Hebrew text, you may also link to other related terms or key terms in particular. So I've highlighted here as an example, Capernaum. And you can click on this to see a gloss or an indication of how that term is signed. And if you will notice the scriptures listed where Capernaum appears, those that are blue are those that have been already recorded. So you can refer back to those videos, and those passages will allow you to see how that information was signed by a previous translator or signer. When you click play, you can see the production of that sign in this example. Another resource that it is included in SLTT is the UBS Marble Picture Glossary or library. It allows you to get a feel for perhaps what a home looked like in a certain context, or other relevant images that might be pertinent to a visual description or a translation of that text. can be extremely helpful because for consultants, they are able to look at the signed version, look at published pictures, and see the similarity and how clear that is. And the last feature that I wanted to describe today is the ability to compare translations. In writing, it is much easier to do so. But this tool finally gives us an option to compare side by side two sign language interpretations and translations so that we are able to catch the differences and similarities, which is extremely beneficial to the team. Now, I can only in this amount of time touch on a few of the features because we have a limited amount of time, but I did want to show those to you today. And I wish I had additional time to allow you to see products of other translation teams in sign language.
To see some of the teams who are using SLTT in their translation projects, some of their testimonials of their own experiences.
Okay, I just wanted to check and see if there's anything that was missed before I move on. Any questions? Looks like we're good. All right, I am going to turn over my presentation to Caio Cascais, who you saw in the introductions, who will outline some additional features that will be released this month, in addition to future plans for the tool. And he is the product manager, but unfortunately was unable to join us today. So I was able to present the first portion for you, but I would like for you to hear from him directly. So I'll turn it over to him now.
Hello, today I am going to show you guys some new features. Specifically, we're going to look at one called TRL, the Translation Resource Library. So we've been working on this feature for quite a while now, and we are soon getting ready to roll this out to the SLTT users. So I'd like to show you a little bit about how this feature works so that if you have teams that could use it, they could take advantage of that. This is intended for a translation project, a team that wants more in-depth information that would help them in the translation task, such as biblical history, more information about the translation process, and a variety of other resources that could help deaf translators be able to watch that content in a video format and produce better quality translations. So I'm going to show you a few new things about this. The first is I would like to show you how to search and be able to find resources that you might be looking for. So you can see one of the icons up here. I'll hover over it. This icon here, you can see also has underneath it listed the logos of different organizations who are responsible for publishing video resources. So for example, you might be able to click on Door. I want to see what video content they have available. And then it takes you to this list of a variety of resources. You can see the thumbnails here. And I'll go ahead and pick this one just as an example. So by hovering your cursor over the different video files, you can see a thumbnail video, decide which one you want to watch. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one right here. So you can see it pulls up a larger image of the video for a translation team to be able to watch and learn more about visual information that will help the quality of their translation be better. You can see in this example, this one is about Bible history. So they would be able to watch a video resource like this that would help them fully visualize the different places, the structure, the environment of the Bible more clearly, which is obviously very helpful for the translation task. So you can see the logos here of the two different organizations. And again, you can see the list of videos available. So now I'm going to show you the other half of the screen, a different sort of feature that we're developing. So let's say that you are part of a project or working with a project that is developing translation resources. Now, not translations of the Bible, but resources for translators. Those who are working on those sorts of resources usually go through kind of a similar quality assurance process as a translation would, community check, consultant feedback, but they're storing it here in a different place. And there's a little bit of a difference in how they need to prepare those resource texts to come into the SLTT so that they can get spread out to the translation teams that are using this resource and users. So I'm going to give you an example of what that kind of processing of that video text needs to be coming in. One of the things that they need to set up is a thumbnail. And I'm going to show you briefly how they can do that. So what we have here on the upper left-hand corner of the screen is an example video. And the thumbnail is just taking a small slice of that video that can be used for people who are trying to see which video they want to look at, like we did earlier. Just a short excerpt from the video so that people are able to find quickly the type of information they want to see. So you can see that for this thumbnail, I've selected just a portion of the entire video. It can be anywhere from 1 second up to 10 seconds, the thumbnail. And once you select the amount of video that you want, you click on this icon. And then there are some choices. It has some presets, or you can go in and select your own passage. By default, the thumbnail will be from whatever the first video is in a portion. But there's also this option here, this checkbox. And what that checkbox does is it tells that group of resources to exclude the thumbnail as being an included resource, so that it's just showing up on the thumbnail and not in the portion, the collection of video resources there. So now that we've covered how to make a thumbnail, I'm going to show you one other important part of kind of processing or preparing videos to get into the resource library, so that they can be appropriately approved and then passed out to released to the SLTT end users. So I'm going to click on the settings icon here. So the screen that you're looking at here is very similar to what you would do to add a new verse or a new passage in the translation part of SLTT. But one thing that's different is you click here that what you're adding is a translation resource. It lets you select a category. It also lets you put copyright information here, your year, what type of copywriting you have. Here you can put what you want the written language of wider communication to be for any publication. And then it also gives you the opportunity to select what type of Creative Commons that resource falls under. It also gives you the option to put an organizational logo so that people can quickly identify which organization is producing the resources that are within SLTT, so that they know, oh, okay, I know this organization, and they're able to look at the resources accordingly. So there's also a little bit, I've shown you guys about how to do a little bit of that work, the thumbnail, some of that foundational information. But now we're going to look at how you can add information to individual portions. We know that resources they already had the first three icons after a portion. Those were features that we already had. The two new ones that we've added are these two right here. So starting on that one that looks like the letter A. What this is we've got a theme for a portion, but let's say that we want to add what the name of that theme would be in a different written LWC. We have the opportunity to type that in here. So that's an example from Portuguese. And then this last icon is another new feature. We can see the video resources that are in that portion. And it also, this is the page that allows the consultant to have an opportunity to finalize and approve these resources for publication. And usually this is a translation consultant who's going in and doing these sort of approvals. It also has a way to record who is doing the approval. So after all of those portions have gone through and been approved, then they are able to be published, and then different users of SLTT are able to access and watch those resources. So again, we're excited to see this resource being able to be used by more. Thank you. Hello again. I wanted to talk about some future plans. So for the sake of time, stewardessing, I'm going to summarize the above points. So for 2024, our goal is threefold, three big things that we're talking through. The first is that we're interested in improving mobile formatting, having some sort of mobile version, trying to find a way to make that possible. The second is improving offline capability. There are some areas where internet connection is a real struggle, and so we're looking at what to do in those situations. And then the third is we're thinking through standalone capability. Right now, we're entirely browser-based, and so we would like for people to be able to download the videos and have them available. So we're looking into options for doing that sort of thing as well to satisfy the needs of different situations where deaf communities have various levels of internet connectivity available. And then, of course, the normal, bug fixing improvements and other features. So thank you guys so much for your attention and for your interest in SLTT. If you have any questions even after the BT conference is over, feel free to reach out to either Kiao or myself. Thank you so much.
Do we have any questions in the audience? Yes. Do you want to come up here?
Yeah, I'm curious about the resource part. I'm really excited to see that. I'm curious, when you have the video resource, is it possible to use the commenting system to be able to do training through SLTT as well? And Stuart is replying and saying, right now what we have is an MVP, just the minimum viable product at this point. So we've made one step forward in that, and we're looking to continue to improve, and as we go, add more features. So that kind of preference, let us know if you want to use SLTT for some of those functions, and we'll be happy to add them into our feature list and get them in. Stephen says, thank you.
Other questions? Yes, up there. Yeah. You want to come up and speak into the microphone?
Now, for the different Bible resources, do they need to be, the illustrations, do they need to be changed in order to highlight the things that are important for the deaf community?
Thank you for your question. Honestly, one of the things that's the least available for deaf communities is resources in a sign language. And actually, the presentation immediately following mine in this room will be about that. How do we increase the availability of sign language resources for deaf teams? In terms of what sorts of content, what sorts of things are coming up in sign language Bible translations that aren't as germane maybe to spoken language or written translations. But yes, you're right. There really do need to be more visual resources that are designed for the deaf. And of course, signing would be the best way to be able to show clearly some of that visual information.
Any other questions? These are good questions. Yes.
I want to make sure I stand where you can see me. So this one is not a question, but it's more of just a general comment. So I am a translator for an American Sign Language translation team, and we've been using SLTT since it was first started in 2019, since it was a baby software program, and we've tested and been using it. And I just have to tell you guys, it has been life-changing for our translation team. Before that, in terms of getting feedback from our consultant, who is Stuart over here, all right? He lived in a different part of the country than we did. And so we would send him our drafts, and it would take forever to upload just one video draft. And he would send us feedback, which was a video, and we would have to try to figure out what part of his video feedback lined up to what part of our video draft. I try to figure out with the time codes, and then we would finally figure out what part he was talking about. We had the two videos up on our screen at the same time. It took an inordinate amount of time to go through this way. And then for Stuart, it took an inordinate amount of time for him to give his feedback as well, just to get the time markers the same so that it was clear about what he was giving us comments on. Once SLTT was available, it's so simple. We upload the video and it's automatically, his comments are tagged to the part of the video that he's trying to give us feedback about. It's so easy for us to see what the issues are with just so few clicks. It has accelerated our translation project's pace remarkably. I felt like we were moving at a snail's pace in some senses before we had this resource available. So now we've gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour, honestly, with this resource available. Honestly, so we have a before SLTT and after SLTT phases in the life of our translation team. So those of you who are working with deaf teams, I strongly encourage you to point them to this as a resource. I know it's overwhelming to see the huge variety of features, but it really is easy to use. There is another team that provides training, and teams can pick it up in like an hour and start making progress. It's excellent. So I just wanted to come up and say, I highly recommend this tool. Please ask questions, dialogue, learn about how to use it, and learn about how the deaf teams you work with can use it. Stuart says, thank you.
We've got about 3 minutes. Yes, you want to come on up real quick?
So I'm happy to see Stuart face to face because I have a Zoom call with him, with Aiden and with Weekly Benin some months ago, because we are starting sign language project in Benin and also in 9 West African country, Francophone country. We are already working on the proposal and use a church-based model, engage the community. My question is this: you said that there's some video already there that can be accessed, and I know the sign language is sometimes built on the maybe on the video you have maybe built on English. You have some video built on French, because I think when you say church, it's different from church is the C in English and the E in French. So my challenge, do you have video in French built on the French system of writing that can help our team? And also my second question is this tool give opportunity for people to sign on their phone. So do they need internet to do that? Or they can actually have the software and without internet sign and now later upload it in the software.
Yeah, thank you so much for your questions. To the first, our videos are not built on English. The signs themselves are words in the sign language. It is originally developed. The resources are developed in a sign language. We use natural drafting processes to develop resources so that translation teams can see the signs and think about how could I apply this in my sign language, which is different. So the resources that we have available, and you're going to see a little bit about this in the next presentation, the resources are delivered in a mixture of international sign and American Sign Language. So French Sign Language is actually closely related to American Sign Language. They have a shared history. And so people who have an understanding of French Sign Language should be able to have some comprehension of a lot of the resources that are in there. And then, yeah, they would be able to apply them to their translation teams from that part. Deaf people are great at negotiating for meaning between different sign languages. And yes, we are looking into how we can increase mobile accessibility for phones and tablets. But yes, one of our goals is to continue to look into solutions for a mobile platform.
We have 1 minute. Quick question? Yes, please. Come.
It sounds like it's available now. So my question is, how might one access this? And are there any restrictions on it as far as copyright or costs or anything like that?
SLTT is free. In terms of how you access it and use it, is simply email Kaya or myself. And just let us know, hey, which translation team is using it? What's the name of the person who's managing it? And then we will be happy to set a project up, and then you guys will be ready to go. So Kao, again, is the one who provides training for how to use it. So it's just a matter of him scheduling a time to work with your translation team and train them in how to use it. You can also ask for nearby deaf translation teams that may not be using it. We'd be happy to support them through that.
Thank you, Stuart. We're out of time. This has been great. I've been looking forward to this presentation, and Stuart is available for questions later. You can go to the next session.
Yeah, and one more thing that I just wanted to add briefly. Some of you guys might be familiar with AVTT, if you guys have heard of that. That is actually, in some senses, the daughter of SLTT. Hearing people saw SLTT and the resources available, and we thought we could use this for oral Bible translation. And so we actually gave them the code so that they could develop ATT from that. So just a fun fact for you guys there. Thank you all.